of the August 19, 2022 Trustee of Trust Funds. I am Bill Wilkes. I am acting as chair today. To my left is,
I'm Pat Heinrich.
and Tom.
And Tom Boland, Finance Director for the town.
And on the phone, we have Chair Christensen.
Good morning.
And for the record, is anyone else in the room with you? And where are you on the phone?
I'm in my office.
Okay, thank you. Alone?
Are you alone?
Thank you, sir.
I'm the only one at my desk.
Very good.
Very good.
So we will go forward. Item 2 is the minutes of June 17th, 2022. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, additions, subtractions to the minutes of June 17th?
I move to approve as distributed.
I would second that.
And I have a correction.
Okay.
The sentence that starts that Heinrich reported, the last sentence says, she continues to review and dispose of old records. I would like to have that deleted or clarified, and I think deleting it's probably easier for you because I'm not disposing of all old records. I am disposing of records we no longer need to keep. And yes, I am reviewing them with Tom Bola, and it just seemed to me to be easier to just delete that sentence.
Do you have a problem with that, Chris?
No, I'm okay.
Thank you.
I'm okay too. Are there any other corrections, additions, subtractions? If not, I will call the question that we
Roll call.
roll call.
And your phone call, sorry.
Chris,
I'm in favor.
Bill Wilkes in favor.
Pat Heinrich in favor.
Very good. 3-0-0, unanimous. Item 3, I guess we had a correspondence from Aiden Ponder. Chris, could you give us a little more detail on Aiden Ponder, just to refresh our memory on that?
Aiden is a recipient of a Watson scholarship last spring, and immediately or shortly after receiving the award, sent a thank you note. Usually we get thank you notes in the spring when they actually collect the money, but either way, it was a nice gesture, and I will, having presented, it was addressed to us, but I will forward it to Barbara Watson.
Very good. Thank you. The next item is the library memorandum of understanding between the trustee of trust funds and the board of trustees for the Merrimack Public Library. This is my first time seeing this. I did look at it. I don't think we're voting on this today. Is that the situation?
This is sent to us as a draft of what the library trustees are talking about. To my knowledge, they haven't officially approved it yet. They did send us a draft, and I said, well, I'll send it to the rest of the board. But we can't necessarily approve it until it's officially come to us from them. And I think it's just to clarify what we've been doing for the last 20 years, maybe longer.
Speaking for myself, I don't have anything to add or subtract to this at this point. I'd like to continue to look at it a little more. Pat, do you have anything you want?
Yes, I do. I believe that there is an omission in this. The RSA 202A22 is about custody and control of trust funds, and it's not mentioned in this document, but it should be. The RSA reads, trust funds are given to towns and cities for the use of the public library and shall be held in the custody and under the management of trustees of the trust funds. It further says the entire income from such funds shall be paid over to the trustees. Payment of such income shall be made by the trustees of the trust fund to the library trustees as the same is received. It seems to me that the library trustees are asking us to ignore our statutory obligation. So maybe we need a copy of a statute that says that they have the right to do that, and we don't have to pay attention to our statutory obligation of abiding by the Constitution and the state of the law and the laws of the state of New Hampshire. If they don't want to spend the money, which by the way is under their powers and duties, it says that the trustees, the library trustees, shall expend the income. They're the ones that can violate the law, but I choose not to be someone who is violating the law. I think we have to give them the entire income as it is received because that's what the law says. That's what they told us at the training. Terry Knowles was very clear. I think part of the problem here is that the fund that the trust funds are not like capital reserve funds. They're not savings accounts. They are funds, and the income is supposed to be spent by according to the wishes of the donor. And that, how they spent by the wishes of the donor is the library trustees, not the trustees of the trust funds. But I think we give them the income when it comes in. We certainly have a right to decide that we'll give it to them either every January or every July, but I think we give them their entire income and they can decide how to spend it.
Conceptually, I don't have a problem giving them the income. I guess philosophically, if they don't know what they're gonna spend it on, and are they gonna invest it in something different, or are they gonna put it in their own savings bank, so to speak?
Well, they have
So
their
does
own.
that defeat the purpose of giving them the income? I mean, you know, I'm not trying to rewrite the laws, but I'm just talking out loud as to what do they do if they don't have a good place to spend the income?
Well, actually, every year they ask the town to raise and appropriate money for books. And most of the various funds, if you take a look at them on her list, are for books, purchasing supplies, purchasing materials. That's what they spend it on. They also have a fund that was donated to the library by Harold Watson. Actually, and that money, we met with Harold Watson because I was on the board at the time. I was a trustee for 20 years. And we asked Mr. Watson what kind of books would he want. And every year we purchased books to meet his ideas and what he said that his first wife would want. And we used to send him the receipts for the books that we purchased so he could see that we were using it according to their wishes. But that's, if you take a look at what each of those various funds are asking, mostly it's books and supplies. There is the new one that came in, and that actually talks about using funds annually for speakers, for equipment. It's all budgetary stuff that would offset their budget or increase their budget. And all they have to do is put it as an appropriation that they're expecting to get a certain amount of money from the trustees of the trust fund. If they don't get that much, oh, well, they can't spend it. And they could also, there's a process to go through and there's a way that they can do it. And we certainly did it when I was the chairman of the board of trustees, the library trustees, and the treasurer of the library trustees. I know that they're probably not investing it as well as the trustees of the trust fund are. But our job is to get as much money as we can every year and give them the income.
Any comments on that, Chris?
Well, it's their document, so I don't want to mess around with it too much. It does seem like there's a conundrum here. I do want to back up one step. The Geraldine Watson Fund, which was $25,000, never went to the trustees of trust funds. The library trustees have always managed that for themselves. They put it in the savings account or CDs, and they make a pittance on it.
It doesn't
they
matter.
were always anxious to have us do the investing for them, in part because until recently, and I'm going to say that means within the last 10 years, they weren't allowed to invest. They could do CDs and other guaranteed funds, but they could not do more diversified investments that we can do. So that was one reason they were always anxious to have us keep some of that money and reinvest it. Even when Pat was chairman, I was on the trustees of trust funds in the early 90s. And even then, when we gave them money, they said, keep 10%. So we kept 10% and we reinvested it, which is how they've grown some of their funding.
Actually, Chris, when I was chairman, we said, why are you keeping 10%? The statute says entire income. And I am the person that brought that up to Mr. Johnson, who told me that we felt it was a good idea to build your funds. And we said not. So while I was chairman, and I was chairman or treasurer for nearly 18 years, we wanted the income yearly because that's what the statute said. And I can't find anything in trustee records, either trustee of the trust funds or library trustees, that said, please keep 10%.
Well, I'm not going to argue the past with you. I just know it was handed down to me and what was going on when I was on the board. So there's a difference of opinion there, and it doesn't really make any difference. This is a library trustee document,
Yes.
and I would suggest if Pat has problems with it, she's more intimately familiar. She should talk to the library trustees and get it squared away. We
Yep.
haven't signed anything. We haven't voted on anything, so it's not up to us to rewrite the document.
Deb Colville actually asked me if I wanted to talk to the trustees, and I did not want to talk from a trustee of the trust fund's perspective without talking to the trustees of the trust fund first. So if you would like me to go and speak to the trustees, the library trustees, I'm delighted to do that.
I would,
Well, I would
definitely-
just say don't pretend that you are the spokesperson for the trustees of trust funds until we vote on something, but we don't have anything to vote on yet. But you can certainly make inquiries and get a better sense of their perspective.
That puts me in a hole here. You're asking me to do something, but telling me I don't have the authority of the trustee of the trust funds to do it.
You have questions, go to them and ask the questions and get your answers.
I think my thoughts are to let Pat go and tell them that this draft is incomplete and that because of the laws of the state of New Hampshire, there's some missing elements in the draft, and see if they are willing to correct it. And if they are, bring us back a new draft with the additions to the draft. That would be my proposal for our consideration.
That works for me.
Okay. Thank you.
Can we move on from that item? We don't have anything to vote on yet regarding that subject. I would propose we move on to the investment policy.
Give it to Bill.
Sent you out a copy of it with the changes that Pat wanted and that we all agreed on, which was in 2 locations to reference the libraries or the library statute and to increase the yield goal from 2.5% to 3% to 2.5% to 4%. So we made those changes, restructured a couple of sentences so it made more sense. And that's about it.
I am noting that we have all signed this document at this point.
I'll make a motion, we approve it as amended.
I will second that. By roll call vote, Chris?
I'm in favor.
Bill Wilkes in favor.
Pat Heinrich in favor.
Very good, unanimous.
Is, Liz there today? Here
Liz?
today?
Liz is not present today.
Okay. I've put her name on it as an alternate, hoping that she would sign it as well, since as an alternate trustee, if she's voting, she's pretty much bound by the policy as well.
She has signed it, Chris,
Oh, she has, okay,
and we're including that in the document.
okay, thank you.
Future
You can have,
meetings.
somebody scan and send me a copy of the signed document, I'd appreciate it, and then I will file it with the state.
Very good. Next item is future meetings.
Annual reports.
Oh, I'm sorry,
You jumped.
I jumped. Annual reports. It's my understanding they've been filed. Is there any questions regarding that topic?
Well, here's the interesting part of this. When we get a copy of or access to a draft report on the state website, and then we have to submit it on the website to DRA. The checkbox says whoever is submitting it, under pain of penalty and perjury, has the authority to do so. So I think we need a vote to file that report. Now, as a coincidence, historic coincidence, if you will, in the past, we finally got the reports, we went through it, and I looked at it and said, oh, wait a minute, that's not right. And so we went back to the state, reopened it, made the corrections, and then refiled it. At which point the state said, oh, it's refused. And we questioned them and they said, oh, that was a mistake. We didn't mean to refuse it. It's okay. It's a very bifurcated program, if you will, in my book. But anyway, in order to file it, we need to have somebody have approval, and so I would ask for a vote in that respect. And I'll make the motion that we approve the report for state filing.
Is this the MS9 that you just sent to us?
Yes, MS9 and then the MS10, which is a duplicate of the paper statements you get.
Okay. I asked Tom if he could put it in some sort, because I couldn't read it at all. So Tom put it in an Excel spreadsheet so I could go through it. So thank you, and I'll make the motion to approve it.
I think Chris made the motion. Do you want to second it?
I'll
then?
second the motion then. Thank you.
Very good. Call the question.
I'm in
Chris.
favor.
Bill Wilkes in favor.
And Pat Heinrich in favor.
Next item, future meetings. Proposal is for September 16th. I am okay with September 16th at this point. And the 21st of October works for me also at this point. That's probably far enough out to go. Anybody have any thoughts, concerns, conflicts?
The only thought excuse me. The only thought I have is that in some years when we were getting paper statements, they came like on the 13th or 14th of the month. We didn't have a chance to look at them very much if we had the meeting on the 15th or the 16th. I don't know that that's a problem anymore, but I just bring it up. The 16th is pretty close to the time frame where we receive our monthly reports. Now we're going to quarterly reports. It's probably not as exciting.
September is the end of the first quarter, and September is also 5 Fridays, so the 23rd there's still another week in September, so I don't have a problem with either the 16th or the 23rd if you want to move it there.
I'm okay with either one of those dates.
Let's go to the 23rd.
Okay?
Done. October 21. And are we looking at November 18th? Because there really isn't a whole lot of alternatives in November. Because the 11th is Veterans Day and the 25th is the day after Thanksgiving, so that leaves us the 18th.
Okay.
All good on these dates tentatively? At this point?
Yes.
Me too. What about you?
I'm good.
Okay.
Is there any other business to discuss today? Chris? I have nothing further. Pat, do you have anything?
I would just report that Tom and I are working very hard on the files and trying to reorganize and put things together.
I'm
fine.
sorry, I can't hear you, Pat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tom and I are working very hard on going through the files and removing old financial statements and then organizing the files in a little better order. I've found a variety of things in that are rather interestingly labeled, but we're making progress.
Excellent. I would entertain a motion to adjourn if there's nothing further.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Chris?
Aye.
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 Very good. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you, Bill. Have a good day. See you, Pat.